Why should I feel empathy for those assholes? Even the people we hate is the best way to have an influence on them. Most people you meet because most people you meet. Remember that empathy works. The second one is empathy. So empathy is, for many vegans, a very natural thing, at least for animals. This is Anita Kreins, who founded the SAVE movement. So the SAVE movement is also here at Vienna. I think it's a nice, iconic image of our empathy for animals. She is giving water to a pig in a truck. She was actually sued for that. So a nice demonstration of what we feel, of how we empathize, how we can feel the animals' experiences. So again, if we are vegans, it's easy for us to feel empathy for pigs and cows and chickens. But how easy is it to feel empathy for meat eaters, or for hunters, or for bullfighters? Is it easy for you to feel some empathy for those people? No, I don't think so. Maybe now you say like, empathy? Really? For them? Why? Why should I feel empathy for those assholes? This is Gary Mirovsky, who's like a very, I don't know who knows him, like a very confrontational, in-your-face activist that he will say what he thinks. It's quite, in-your-face, direct. And let me juxtapose him here to this guy. Anybody know him? Thich Nhat Hanh. He's a Buddhist monk who died this year, and he was very monkey-like in his outreach. Very soft and calm, and talking about veganism in a much calmer way. I'm not saying that either this or that approach is always wrong, but I want to tell you that this like soft, compassionate approach, the empathic approach, is actually applicable and useful and productive, maybe in more circumstances than you might think. So again, let me ask you the question: do you think that there's some people, some groups of people, that we should not feel any empathy for at all? I'm sure you can think of some people, some horrible people like these ones. Empathy for them? I don't know. It almost feels like a crime to feel empathy for them, right? But let me introduce you to this guy, Daryl Davis, who is an activist and a musician. And he spent the first part of his life outside of the United States. He's an American, but he spent part of his life outside the United States because his father was a diplomat or something. And he only came to the US when he was quite young, like 8 years old or something, in the 60s or 70s. And he was walking around in a 4th of July parade, a national holiday parade in the US. And all of a sudden people were throwing things at him because of racist ideas. It was the first time he was being confronted with racism. And he said to himself, how can these people hate me if they don't even know me? How can they hate me if they don't even know me? And then he realized, well, I don't know them either. And what he set out to do was he built relationships. He looked up people of the Ku Klux Klan. He talked to them. He had conversations with them. He built a connection with them. And because of doing that, he convinced about 200 people by now to drop their racist ideas. And as a symbol of that, they gave him their robe. He has collected 200 of these robes of people who have said, like, I don't believe this crap anymore. So he was able to influence them. This is a documentary on them, on him, if you are interested to know more. He was able to influence them by his empathy. He made a connection. He built rapport. He got to know them. He was open-minded also. He tried to understand them. I think that trying to understand people, even the people we hate, is the best way to have an influence on them, right? I think that saying that I hate those people, I will never talk to them, is probably not a very efficient way of changing anybody. What this guy is doing is not easy, right? It's Jesus level almost, right? So I'm not expecting everybody to be able to do that, but it's good to keep in mind that this empathy can work. So some tips to be more empathic. First of all, remember the situation that we are in. Why do most people eat meat? There are several answers to that question. My answer is, most people eat meat because most people eat meat. Right? People do what other people do. They get the cues on how to think and on how to behave from what they see happen around them. This is what we call the adoption of innovation curve. This is used to explain the adoption of new technology. So for instance, the adoption of a smartphone. If you, today, in 2022, do not have a smartphone yet, then you are here. If you had one in 1998, you were an innovator. People have different speeds at which they adopt new things, and it's also like that with diets or lifestyles. If you're vegan today, or even vegetarian, you are there. And you have to understand that other people are going to move more slowly. That some people are only going to change when the majority has changed. That's when it feels safe, or not strange or stupid anymore, or whatever. So if you understand that people move at different speeds, you can maybe get a bit more empathic and also a bit more patient, which is also good for yourself, a bit less frustrated. You have to consider that the people in this room who are vegan, we are, to some extent, the low-hanging fruit. The people that it was easy to reach, maybe with ethical arguments, and the other people are going to be less easy to reach. Secondly, it's always really good to remember when you are judging something or someone that you never have all the information. And so you can always think of an explanation for something that irritates you or that disgusts you, that makes you or that helps you be more empathic. So I'm usually a pretty calm guy, but in traffic I can get really worked up with what assholes are doing on the road, right? So like when somebody's like in my butt with a car, you know, like you go like, fucker, and I step on the brakes or something. Or like when somebody like passes me down like this, or passes me by like this at 150 an hour, I go like, oh, I want to scream. And then I think like what helps me is to realize, okay, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe this guy is on the way to the hospital to visit his dying grandmother. That's why he's in a hurry. And that is probably not true, right? But it could be true. And I try to believe it, and it helps me calm down immediately. It doesn't always work if they pass you like this and go to the hospital, right? But try to imagine a reason that could explain in some charitable way why people are doing what they're doing. Really, that is helpful for both them and for you. And thirdly, remember that empathy works. Remember that if you want to help animals or the environment or whatever, it can be very productive and impactful to try to understand other people, even people that you detest or whose opinions or attitudes or beliefs that you really don't like.